Hello, welcome to another Trades and Tutorials video. This is Jeff Fish, president of MarketGauge.com. And in this video, I'm just going to highlight a couple of ETFs that really jumped out at me today. This wasn't my plan for today, but I was just cruising through the little big view, which is the free tool you have access to, and saw these two ETFs that are just jumping off the page, and so I wanted to share them with you. But before I do, I just want to make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, sign up for our channel, and also know that you can get more videos like this at marketgauge.com/tutorials. And finally, make sure that you're seeing this in HD so you can see it more clearly. All you have to do is change the settings in the lower right hand corner of your control bar, and it's really easy to do. It's much clearer, and I think you'll like it. So the two ETFs that are jumping off the page today, and these may be opportunities not necessarily for today. We'll see what happens as the market trades, but bigger picture, you might want to be paying attention to these. And the first one is Egypt, and the second one is coffee. All right, so I found these simply by going to a little big view here, and then to the market hotspots section. All right, and you can find little big view on our site under the resources section. Little big view. So this particular page looks at the biggest movers in the ETFs from an eclectic group. As you can see, we've got regional banks and biotech and retail. But what really jumped off the screen for me was two things. One, the sheer size of the move in Egypt, 5% essentially. Now it's in a bearish phase, so I expect the thing to be beat up, and I'm not typically a bottom fisher unless there's a really compelling pattern. But JO, the fact that this is highlighted as recovery phase means that it just crossed over that 50-day moving average. And so the combination of the big move and recover in the phase is what made me want to focus on it. All right, so let's go take a look at the charts, but just before we do, you can see how easy this was. I just clicked to these the market hotspots section here. There's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do here, but this is not what the video is about. Let's go take a look at the charts. And actually, before we go to the charts, one last thing, and that is the other way you might have picked up on JO would have been if you're a subscriber to Mish's free daily newsletter called Mish's Daily. And so if you're not already subscribed to that, just come up to resources, go to Mish's Daily, and every day she gives you a heads up of what's going on in the overall markets, as well as a summary of ETFs and some important points to watch out for those ETFs. So if you want to check it out, it's all free. Mish's Daily, you can see what it's like by just clicking Mish's Daily like this, and then sign up in this box over here on the right. All right. So with that, let's take a look at the charts of JO. Let's start with JO. So as I said, the fact that it's was highlighted as recovery is telling me that we've closed above the 50-day moving average when the 50-day moving average is below the 200. And when this happens, it's often a beginning of a new trend. Now we'd like to see it confirm, so one day doesn't make it a huge signal, but you can see massive volume, the biggest volume we've seen in a long time. And the other thing that makes this chart really compelling is that you can see it was basing out, basing out, basing out, and then it broke down, even closed below that low, and then came right back in and consolidated again. So that pattern in and of itself is a good test of a good looking double bottom right now. So now to be back over the 50-day moving average makes this something well worth watching as an opportunity. This thing, as you can see, can really get going, and this is where it all starts. So keep an eye on JO. And from a completely different point of view, Egypt. All right, so now Egypt is not a recovery phase, All right, Egypt was just purely a huge move, biggest one on the day, hottest one of all the different ETFs. That's what drew my attention to it. But then, as I looked a little closer, I could see that it's actually more than just one day's big move. So for starters, Egypt has pulled back from 75 all the way down to the 50 level in the last, about a little more than 6 months. And it's settled in right around where you might expect some support given previous price action. So I've got these horizontal lines here, and so you can see how they line up with this low, how they line up with this support area, and the bottom one lines right up with this support area. So this is it's a logical place for Egypt to stop in terms of the big picture. Now, if we look a little more closely, we could see that we had a big volume up day here a few weeks ago. And then what happened? We came back and we tested it again, and then the huge day, which was yesterday. So that combination, okay, the thrust off a low, and then the test, that depending on how you look at it, this is an opening print, so it's hard to say with Egypt. It's kind of thin, whether or not a whole lot traded down there. I didn't look at that. Either way, it's a good test of that low, which we have not seen that kind of a test. Really, I would say we haven't seen this kind of pattern since right here. All right, so now what do we look for now? Well, personally, I'm going to look to see if it pulls back into this area, and I'm going to watch to see what happens when it gets up in and over the 50-day moving average, and see if we can get a recovery phase. But this going into a recovery phase after this bottoming action here would be a very compelling country to keep your eyes on, especially since a move from, say, the 55 to the 200 up here of 63 would be a really nice move to catch, and who knows where it goes from there. But until then, I'm just going to keep an eye on it, and to the point of this whole video, all I had to do is take a look at that one page which summarizes the hottest ETFs for the day, and also the hottest ETFs over the last 6 months, which I didn't show you. But it's all free in Little Big View under the resources section, marketgauge.com, and hope that helps.